Hey, so this is our exchange video that I'm Spencer. This is Lauren and that's Varen. We are the crew that came from UVic and went to Warsaw, Poland, and we're going to explain why you should come to Poland for your exchange and just outline the process. First, we have the visa, and Lauren's going to talk a little bit about that.
So you have to do an application process, starts online, where you have to fill out some paperwork. After you fill out the paperwork, you can make an appointment. You have to go to the Polish consulate, which is located in Vancouver. So once you make your appointment, it's like a week or two after you do your application. You go, the guy there was super friendly and really helpful when Spencer and I went. You have to provide, the one thing that we kind of missed was that you have to provide a proof of residence. So if you don't have an apartment yet when you get there, we suggest asking perhaps your buddy that hopefully you will apply to get one, if you could use their address, and the people at the consulate were very happy with that.
And if you can't get your buddy's address, they just said to book a hotel or a hostel for 2 weeks, and then you can just cancel your reservation after you print it off. Because they're pretty flexible. They just need to show something that lets them know you have a place to stay.
Yeah, when I went to go for my visa application, all I basically did was follow the instructions on the consulate website and all the documents you need. Just follow the whole list. And you can even give them a call, but I mean, I'd rather email them because calling them, they won't always pick up. But when I went downtown Vancouver, and the whole process probably took me about 10 minutes, and it was super easy, and I got my visa very fast within a week. However, we still suggest you start super early just in case they do take some time to get your visa in.
Yeah, okay, so the next important thing that you're probably considering is the courses. You take a lot of courses when you're here, so you have to I did ONT, so I had to take 24 credits, and they both didn't do ONT, so they had to take 30 credits. It turns out that I took 8 classes and they took 11. So there's a lot of options. Well, there's limited options, but you have to take a lot of classes. So we're going to run through some that we recommend. I'm more into finance, so I took an M&A class and a modern banking class. If you're into finance, I'd take them. The M&A one's great. You get to build a tender offer, do actual valuation. It's really hands-on. Another class I liked was communications and negotiations. It's a fair bit of work. We all took it. I think we all did fairly well. But you do negotiation exercises every day, and you have to do an international project with a school in Iowa and a final paper. And a class that I didn't like, we all took this one again. It's called Team Building and Managing a Change Project. I don't even know how it's a class. You have 6 classes. There's no outside work. All you have to do is attend the classes. You can miss 2 of them, and your grade doesn't get affected, so you only have to show up to 3 or 4. But he grades really poorly, so he bases basically all the grade on if you participated in one exercise, and if you didn't, you have no chance to fight it. So we ended up not getting great grades in that class, but if you're looking for a filler, it's not a bad option.
And the other class that everyone has to take in Poland is Polish, obviously, because it's a language course, but it is intimidating at first. However, I can guarantee you that most of the professors that are teaching are very nice and very understanding that it is a different language and it's quite hard. So, if you just just study hard for the final a little bit, I guarantee you'll do very well. And same with anatomy of decision making and psychology of money and consumer behavior. They're all taught by one professor. And the structure is very easy. You just gotta participate in class. It's a huge mark. The huge criteria, a huge chunk of the grade is actually based on participation, and then you just gotta do one final presentation. And and the economics of the European Union we also recommend. It's quite an interesting class. You learn a lot about the European Union, but at the same time it's a very straightforward class. And I want to just reiterate, even though we did take 11 classes, very doable, and it's really if you put in time and effort, it's very straightforward.
So another course that we took was social media business case studies. It was a bit of a weird class. It was 3-hour classes, and there was about 6 of them. The professor didn't speak the greatest English, so it made it a bit challenging for us. It was an easy class, but to be honest, we didn't learn much, and the whole grade was based on a 50% final exam and a 50% presentation. It was basically a 6-minute presentation. It was quite simple, so I would suggest taking it. I took a consulting project course, which was a master's course. It was challenging. It was a huge project, but it was quite rewarding in the end. And although it was challenging at times, I was actually in the end really happy that I took it, and I learned quite a bit out of it. Another one, Psychology of Money, which Varen kind of touched on. We really enjoyed that class, especially if you are a bit more interested in finance. It gave me insight into stuff that I really haven't had a class offered like that before. Again, participation is huge in that class if you do take it. I know it's been suggested by a lot of other people that came to Kozminski as well. Varen and I also took Principles of Law. It was quite an easy course. It was strictly about the European Union though, so we did learn quite a bit. The grade there was based on a 50% final and a 50% case study, which was only 2,000 words. The professor was awesome. He was so flexible with us finishing our stuff before we left, and he was very easygoing. We definitely highly suggest that if you need some more credits.
Yeah, and just one last note is definitely if you do not plan on staying all the way till February, because classes in Poland, they go all the way till February, you email your prof or you go to them the first day and ask them what you can do because you want to go back for Christmas or you want to go back for your term in January. And 99% of the time, they'll be very flexible and happy to accommodate for you. But as early as they know is the way better.
Yeah, so overall, with the classes, to be honest, don't worry about the difficulty. They're a lot easier than UVic classes, and it's a lot less work. Because, if you're a native English speaker, the school's taught in English, but it's such an international school that you'll clearly stand out in every class for being just the best because you can fluently speak English, and the presentations will be a breeze to you compared to UVic standards, and same with the papers, the reports. It's really not academics is not shouldn't be a worry if you come here. I'll say that.
And just one more thing I wanted to say about also it's graded on a 5-point scale. So essentially anything above a 3 is a pass.
Yeah.
So that's, you definitely want to stay above that, but we've been staying well above that in that range. So don't stress out about that.
Yeah, so the next major thing is the cost and expenses while you're living here. This and those living expenses, food costs, and transit are the 3 main kind of things.
So in terms of living expenses, we decided that we were going to live together when we found out that we were coming here. So that worked out for us really well. We pay each around 430 Canadian, depending on the exchange rate, per month. So you could find a place quite a bit cheaper, but a big thing for us was location, and we are directly in the city center, which we are so happy that we chose this area because it's easy for us to get to school, but it's also, there's great nightlife, there's awesome restaurants, there's malls, there's so much to do around here. Food is a lot cheaper, so it's about half the price of what you would get at a restaurant in Victoria. It's super cheap to go out. We go out for dinner about 3 times a week at least, just because it's so cheap and the food is really great. So because it's so cheap to live here, we can afford to go out for dinner all the time and go out for drinks, and it's worked out really well for us. Again, drinks are super cheap, except for when you buy them at the club, they are a bit more expensive, but to just go to the store and buy a bottle of wine or buy beers, it's so cheap.
This is a 1.5 liter, and it's 75 cents.
Yeah.
So it's not bad.
Spencer can't stop drinking it. So anyways, just going on to the transit as well, just the tram system and the metro. Kozminski gives you your student IDs, and on that you can actually put money onto it at the post office inside of the school. So it costs about roughly $50 for all 3 months, which is really cheap, and you can go on the trams and metros. And because of that, it's very cheap living in Poland, and just being able to travel a lot of the places is very handy, and that's a huge advantage for anyone that wants to come on exchange, is coming to Poland and living very cheaply.
Just one more thing about the transit too. If you do have your student card as well, if you're training within Poland, you can get 50% off your training. So with that student card, which is really great if you want to go to some other cities, and to train around is so easy. So
yeah, like overall for the living and cost expenses, Warsaw is great. Like Poland in general is great. Warsaw is slightly bit more expensive than Krakow, but it's compared to other European cities, it's way cheaper. We haven't had an issue with traveling, like eating out all the time, where other people are like running out of money and panicking. So it's worth it.
yeah.
The next major thing is international services and orientation. This is like, I don't really know how to explain it that well, but it's kind of like how many things are you like independent or not. If you're not independent, it's totally fine here. Like I got probably the best exchange buddy you could ever ask for.
He shared.
Yeah, so Lauren forgot to sign up, and Baron just didn't talk to his. So my exchange buddy like picked us up from the airport, like helped us get our cell phone plans right away, like showed us around the city, and we ended up being kind of great friends with her and be like hanging with her all the time. And she's the vice president of ESN Kozminski, which is like a big student network. So she shows us like everything to do. She's amazing. Sign up for the buddy program right away and be active in it. So that'll help you with like everything. You can either be independent or not. It doesn't matter. Someone will help you for sure.
So ESN at Kozminski, they are the group that essentially helps all international students that come, whether they're master's or bachelor students. So we found them so helpful. Like Spencer said, if you're not super independent and you need a bit more support, they're definitely there for you all the time. It's a large group of people, and if you really need anything, you can reach out to any of them. They put on great events. There was pretty much an event every week, like laser tag or just tours or anything to get you involved with just getting outside and doing things in Warsaw, as well as planning trips to Krakow and just lots of other places. So yeah, definitely there's support for you to get involved.
Another quick thing as well is that at school they do recommend you signing up for a SIM card for your phone. I honestly personally wouldn't recommend that, and going to either Play or Orange, I guess, and signing up through them, and it's way cheaper and it's way faster, I'd say.
So the next major thing is housing. Where to stay, was it hard to find? So for us, first of all, there's no on-campus residences in Warsaw at Kozminski, so you have to find a place on your own. We ended up using an agency, it was so easy. You end up paying a bit more. I think we used easyrenting.pl, and they have a bunch of places. They directly contact you with the owner. They set up everything, all the documents. It was so much easier than trying to find someone on Craigslist or like just waiting and then hoping that you can find someone when you get here. So we came in the beginning of September, and we thought it wouldn't be that tough to get a place because school here doesn't actually start till October. But start your search early. As soon as you know who you're coming with and when you're going to come, start looking for a place, because they fill up fast, and you want a good place in the city center. So yeah. And then when you're looking at a map of Warsaw, there's a big river that basically divides it between the east and west. We suggest staying on the west. That's where Old Town is, city center. It's a newer, more developed area of town. Although the school's on the east side, there's nothing really else over there. It's more like it's up and coming, but it's like not the safer side, and it's just, if you have a choice, live on the east side.
Yeah,
west side, sorry.
we suggest living in the city center around like Metro Centrum, if you like to call that, because it's actually very easy to get to the other side of the river and to your school. You just take the one tram, which is 18. It have to take about like 10-15 minutes to get there each morning. And but one thing is, as Spence suggests, is that you want to start early. So one thing you can do is go on Facebook and search the page called Accommodation in Warsaw, and they're actively always posting on there. People are looking for roommates and whatnot. We suggest starting in the summer early on and just trying to find other students that are trying to find places to live with if you don't have roommates already.
Yeah, and also the international office has an email contact list as well. That if you go to Kozminski, you'll get it, and people will start sending out emails just saying, "Hey, this is where I'm from. I'm looking for a roommate," and they'll tell a little bit about themselves. And if you like what you see, you can respond and maybe connect with somebody and try to look for a place with them.
Yeah. So that's housing. Onto the actual campus and university. If coming from UVic, it's really small. It's kind of like two buildings clustered together with like an archway. It's really small. There's not much to it. It's pretty busy, so there's like a lot of people in there. But it's new. But yeah, it's just small. And there's no really outside area because it's really cold. And the gym there has super weird hours, and it's not very nice. But you can get a gym pass for like $30 a month if you want.
And that also includes classes as well too, and like other outside activities, like they have football and stuff that you can join if you get the gym pass. Another thing about the campus facilities, and something that we found super helpful and that I feel like I'm on it every day, is the Kozminski app. So it's just an app for the whole university. It has everything you could need on it. It will show you your location, and if you're looking for a classroom, it'll show you a map and how to get there. So you never really feel like you're lost. On that app as well, it has your timetable, it has all your course materials you need, your lecturers, their contact information. It's essentially just a hub for all Kozminski information. So that's something we found really useful, and it'll make your life a lot easier at school.
Yeah, UVic actually really needs to get on Kozminski's level with that app. It's amazing. You use it every day.
Yeah, and even though Spencer talked about the gym hours, we didn't really quite go to the gym, but we did food a lot. So there's a lot of food at Kozminski, but they get very busy during the breaks, and especially the lunch break. So we do recommend this little sushi truck outside of the buildings. They're quite clutch, and no one really knows about them. So.
Yeah. Okay, so on to social events and recreation when you're here in Warsaw. I think Lauren mentioned ESN. It's like the best thing for meeting people and for like going on trips. They organized a couple trips in the fall semester. The first one goes to Krakow. We all went on it. It's amazing. You go you're always doing something which you think is going to be annoying, but it's actually really nice. We go to Krakow, or you go to Krakow, then you go to Auschwitz, and then you go to the salt mines.
Check out some clubs.
Yeah, you go to clubbing and free drinking all the time. And then, so when we first got here in September, it was really hot. It was 25, 30 degrees. So everybody's drinking down by the river at little pubs. You can go, I went wakeboarding at a little wake park. You can go go-karting. In the winter, you can go ice skating. So there's always really something to do, somewhere to go. It's a pretty big city. I think 1.7 million people live here, so it's not like it's no Victoria. But definitely participate in the orientation. That's where we actually met like 3 of our best friends. We hung out with them every single weekend for the entire time. 3 Germans, and it was just like lifelong friends now.
Yeah.
It's your first opportunity to really meet people from Kozminski, and it's the best. You have to go. It's 5 days of excessive drinking and activities, but it's worth it.
Yeah.
Very educating.
So one other thing too, so ESN is kind of a subcategory of Erasmus, which is essentially a whole student network in Europe. And Erasmus sets up all these like large trips for people who are a part of ESN, who are international students or traveling within Europe and going to school. So Spencer and I and one of the German guys that we met, we went on a Budapest trip with Erasmus. So essentially we got on a bus and for 13 hours and went to Budapest, and a whole bunch of buses from all over Europe came and met, and we stayed in a hotel, we did tours, we did a party boat, we went to old bars. It was really fun.
Went to the baths.
I went to the thermal baths, and it was such a fun weekend. So if you do get to do like one Erasmus trip, I would suggest the Budapest one because it was amazing. It was a long weekend, it was a long bus ride, but it was really worth it.
Yeah.
And it's cheap too. It's cheap.
Yeah. So one of the other reasons we chose Warsaw was the travel opportunities. It's a pretty central area, and it's great because school doesn't start till October, like I said before. If you come in September, you have a full month to travel. Warsaw has 2 big airports, one that does all the cheap flights and one that goes like internet, one more international one. Go to Oktoberfest. Me and Varen went. It's insane. It was great. There's so many UVic students there. It was unbelievable. I traveled quite a bit, not as much as I wanted to. I think I made it to 5 countries, and a bunch of different cities. We actually just got back from a trip to the north of Poland. It was amazing. But yeah, I'm sure everybody has their own travel stories. So
Yeah, I mean, another story about Oktoberfest is that although it seems very tempting to take a bus that's very cheap, me and Spencer don't recommend taking a 15-hour bus from Munich back to Warsaw. It's very uncomfortable.
Just spend the 30 Canadian dollars and fly.
Yeah, please do that. And we just got back from a road trip from Sopot and Gdansk, and we highly recommend going to those places in the summer, like in September-ish, in the summertime, if you can get out there earlier. But they're very, very beautiful. We got there out. It was very chilly, very cold, but we were lucky enough to have the sun out, and it was very beautiful. We highly recommend that. And I personally went to Spain and Barcelona. For me, I think Barcelona is a must. So if you are going to travel, please go to Barcelona.
So I went off for about 3.5 weeks on my own when I first got here. I went to France, Italy, and Spain, and I was lucky enough that I got to meet up with 2 of my best friends who were also on exchange, so we got to travel together, and I also did some on my own, which was great. And then after that, me and the guys had some time off, so we went to Berlin and Amsterdam together, and also met up with someone who actually works at UVic, who is Spencer's best friend, so that was really great too, and we had a really great time traveling around.
Yeah. Okay. On to safety and what to bring to Warsaw. So honestly, I packed one small duffel bag and a backpack.
I don't know how.
You really don't have to bring much. Like it's really highly developed. It is a really old city, but it's like been redeveloped so well. They have everything you can imagine. They have H&M, they have Zara, they have everything. You can buy anything you want here. But if you are going to bring your own clothing, be sure to bring clothing for the warm and the cold, because it gets pretty cold and it is really hot when you get here. So you do have to pack a lot. So also for safety, just one thing we kind of found, you should either use Uber or download the My Taxi app, because you can get ripped off. You can just hop in a taxi on the street because they instantly know you're a foreigner and you're used to paying ridiculous amounts for cabs, because here it's really, really cheap.
Especially after like nights at the club and stuff, like the prices just get jacked up. So if you have My Taxi, it's a lot easier. Especially Uber, just so you know, there are some main streets that Ubers actually can't go down. So if you went to go order an Uber, some of them can't go down some of the main streets. So just be aware of that.
Yeah. Okay. So language, food, and culture. Polish is, it sounds like nothing you've ever heard before, unless you're Russian. But so younger people here typically can speak English, sorry. English is like the global language, it seems like. But the older people, they don't, and they don't even try. They'll just keep talking to you in Polish, even if you tell them that you can't. So try and learn as much Polish as you can when you're here. We kind of wish we did more, because we studied for our final Polish class for one day before, and now we know so much. So maybe study like throughout the class. Learn as much as you can. Try and use it with Polish people. They kind of like it when you like even try.
Sign of respect.
Yeah. So on to food. There's so much food.
It's the best part.
Yeah, and it's so cheap. Lots of great Polish restaurants, pierogies, bigos, like Polish foods. It's good. It's hearty. It's really lots of meat and
So I'm gluten free. So I thought I'd mention that. I did actually find it quite easy here. We use TripAdvisor a lot. We use that app a lot when looking for restaurants. But we found a ton of restaurants, and I found it quite easy actually to eat gluten free here. One restaurant we do suggest, Tasty, really great Thai restaurant just down the street from us. Super good. You have to check it out. little places that we went and picked stuff up daily, just like you can't drink water from the tap, so we were constantly buying water, and little, like when you could buy snacks and whatnot. The Carrefour Express, they're all over the town, as well as the Zabka, which is a small kind of convenience store. Yeah, you can also get some fresh vegetables and fruits there. You have to kind of look for them, but if you're in a pinch, it's a good place to go. Also, there's a market that's really close to where we are. It's a huge market. You can go and buy fresh vegetables and fruit and meat there, which is generally where we went and bought that when we were cooking.
When it comes to culture, you honestly can't really pick much of a better place than Poland. There's so much history here because of the world wars and whatnot, especially Auschwitz. You go to Krakow and even in Warsaw. Just seeing the background of it, it's very, very intriguing and like very interesting. Also, when it comes to the people here as well, they're very conservative. They're very, very nice usually. However, they they keep to themselves. So on the trams and whatnot, they're not gonna always like come and smile at you and whatnot, but they just stay reserved to themselves. But they're very nice usually. A couple of places we do recommend in Warsaw is like the Uprising Museum. You can actually learn a lot about the culture there. And a couple of the fun things you can also do is go to the Copernicus Science Center as well. But definitely make sure, since you're in Poland, to definitely check out Auschwitz. They do a ESN trip there to Krakow. It's definitely worth seeing. It's very eye-opening, and yeah.
Also, too, just walking through Old Town, you feel the history there. It's so beautiful, and the buildings, I definitely like. You'll feel it just when you walk through that area.
Yeah, there's also a lot of patriotism here because this country's been through so much that they really respect themselves and they show it. There is one day, November 11th, that it's kind of like it's the day that they were liberated, I guess, from the Soviet regime. So they have like their Independence Day essentially, and if you're not Polish or if you have any ties to like a German descent or Austrian, anything like that, they do recommend that you like stay inside because there's people that go out that are just goons that are looking to,
cause trouble.
Yeah. So there's that, but honestly it's never been an issue for us, and everybody loves Canadians, right? Yeah. Okay. Last thing, on to co-op opportunities. So there are opportunities here, especially because Warsaw is like the finance hub of Poland. But the pay here is not very good. You probably have difficulty surviving off it unless you had savings. But it would be a good experience. There's big banks like Citibank and all those that have actually hired co-op students before, and it's not a problem only speaking English. They'll hire you anyways.
Yeah. So yeah, we started looking for our co-ops basically right after orientation. We kind of wanted to jump the gun a bit and just start seeing what was out there. Just start early just to take a bit of stress off. These guys got theirs last month or so, and I just got mine yesterday. So
and we're filming this in December 23rd, the day before we fly back.
So that's all I wanted for Christmas. We're really lucky that we all locked down co-ops. We're pretty happy. So yeah, just look early and you'll definitely find something.
Yeah, and so to be honest, if you're on the fence about Warsaw or Poland in general, don't be. Just come. And if you're on the fence about exchange in general, don't be.
Just come.
It's the best 4 months of your life. You meet so many new... I had no idea who these people were before I got here. And now I'm forced to be lifelong friends with them.
Yeah.
So,
we're even all working in the BC ministry, so we have to hang out.
Crazy.
Trust me, just do it, Be a yes man.
We highly suggest Warsaw.
Yeah, and honestly, just to let you know, like, I'm a very homey person myself. I don't travel a whole lot on my own, but coming here has definitely changed me as a person, and like it's definitely eye-opening just to see other cultures and whatnot. So it's definitely recommended.
Yeah.
All right. Well, good luck with your exchange application process, and if you have any questions, you can reach out to us.
Yeah, definitely. Or Spanish.